So like with all that being said, like you jumped around, you went back, and then when you started officially training in 2010, like how did it change your life as far as like you did you see yourself continuing this like in the beginning, like once you were already going, like did you envision yourself being like a black belt?
No, no. I think the blue belt was the only rank. Not only did I feel like I absolutely 100% deserved with the time that I was putting in, not knowing what the timeline was supposed to be like.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see myself going much farther than that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then as things started to kind of like form themselves into me progressing, just as an individual, and then progressing as head coach and school owner and stuff like that. That stuff all started to fall in line.
Yeah.
It's weird how everything just kind of started lining up at very important points,
Mm-hmm.
because the timeline for me getting out of the Army was in 2012, and it was like a fork in the road. It was like, okay, I'm out. My original plan was to go back to California and be with my family, but things kept me here, which is fine, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
And then I had a choice to make. I'm like, well, do I go off to this job that I know that I want to do, that I can do, that's going to keep me, safe as far
Mm-hmm.
as financially and be able to have benefits and all that good stuff, or do I dive off this deep end and take the chance this way?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so that was the fork in the road, and we obviously know which way I chose.
Yeah.
And so it eventually, obviously, it worked out.
Yeah. When did you like when you got your blue belt and you were there, because that was one thing that when I got my blue belt, I was like, God damn it, because I read the statistics of how many people quit
How many
jujitsu after
people
blue
bounce? Yeah.
belt. I remember Chris and all the guys at 10th would always give me shit, but I mean, life happens and stuff like that, and I knew I wanted to loop back around to it. But when did you get in the position to where like you were coaching, and you how did that come about? Where like, oh, I want to start coaching, like.
So again, everything just kind of fell into place. So when I got my blue belt, I was actively, of course, competing. I was an active student. I was still a soldier, and I had a deployment on its way. Like very shortly after I got my blue belt, I deployed to Afghanistan, and I was already helping out with the kids program at that time as a blue belt. So I was an assistant coach at the kids program under Sean Pretat, who's now a second degree black belt. And so he was a purple belt at the time, fourth degree purple belt, teaching kids. So I was just his assistant coach. I wasn't
Mhm.
really doing much with the adults. I really couldn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was good athletically to be able to be where I was at, but as far as what was up here, I didn't have a lot up there. I had some details to the techniques that I did, things like triangles, very basic beginner stuff. So that made me a good assistant coach. But as far as running a program, leading a program, stuff like that, there was no way at that level that I would have been able to be
Yeah.
very successful with it.
Yeah, because like I know that there's like even for me, like I've only been training 3 years, and I think it's like a blip, and I couldn't teach anybody like, well, what do you do this? When do you do that? It just because, and that comes with the time and the knowledge. Because yeah, I could sit here and teach you like, oh, this is how you do an arm bar, this is how you do this, but I'm not setting things up and setting
Yeah.
up traps, and that comes with time on the mat and things like that. Because um, when I was first training, I was always like, go, go, go. I was working out, I was running, but I would fucking lose because I wasn't like retaining or like practicing and like really like being a student of the sport.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more like I would just show up and try to go and like use my athleticism all the time.
Yeah, and that's normally what happens. That's exactly how I started. I was lucky to have good technical guidance from Sean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He was very good at saying, "Hey, dude, slow down. Hey, dude, pay attention. Hey, dude,
Mm-hmm.
squeeze your knees." At that level. But that was very short lived because within 2.5 years, I'm now running a program by myself as a brand new purple belt. With this timeline, and it's like, okay, now my mentor, the dude who was sitting here telling me not to do this, put your foot there, put your leg there, squeeze like this, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do I learn? So between going to open mats, having people stop by the gym, seminars, asking questions, and having people be open. Some people were very open with fixing techniques, giving me pointers and things like that while I was rolling with them and or afterwards. And I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were some that just rolled, and you'd ask them, "Hey, man, any holes, any gaps, any issues?" No, man, you felt solid.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
And respectfully, that was cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm a purple, you're a brown, you're a black,
Yeah.
you're a higher purple. A little bit of feedback would have been
Yeah.
nice.
I think you could like this sport that I've like, I was talking about the traveling. Like, I don't think you could ever not learn enough. There's always something or tweak. Like I do it this way, and I know one thing I love about when you instruct is like this might not work for you, but this might work for you, and you do, and then that's the thing. Like, oh, my mind is this, and
Yeah.
in your mind there's like 10 options off
Yeah.
of one thing.